What's up, readers, viewers? I'm here in Chicago, Illinois with sports agent Joseph Clayborne of Agility Sports. Joe, I appreciate you being here, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I appreciate the opportunity. For sure.
So we're going to get started with this week's ShineHard conversation.
This kind of just happened. I say this to people all the time. Like, I mean, it almost fell into my lap.
Really?
My first client was a close friend of mine. My first year of law school, I ended up working for the NFL. I worked football operations for the Arizona Cardinals. And then that next summer, they had me on for rehire, but I knew my buddy was going to get ready to go to the league.
Who was that?
Coney Ely.
Okay.
Coney Ely's my first client. He ended up being a second-round pick for the Carolina Panthers. The Christmas break after I had worked for the Cardinals, it was the end of the college football season, and he pretty much made a decision then whether or not he was coming back to school and declaring. And he decided to stay in school, and at that point he told me I could be his agent, So I went through the agent certification process. They do it once a year. You turn your application in January. You take a test in July, and you're certified by like October or so. So, I went into the whole situation knowing that I had my first client.
Yeah, that's huge.
Right. So, yeah, it was like I said, it was pretty much fell into my lap.
Yeah, it's a blessing right there.
Right, yeah, no doubt about it. It's like I look at it like being in the right place at the right time with the right credentials. And things just happen.
So you went to law school?
Right, yeah. So I graduated from law school last year. I've been out of law school for a year now.
What school?
May 2014, Loyola University of Chicago.
Okay.
So
congrats.
Appreciate it, man. I moved out here straight after Hampton when I finished with my MBA and started law school. So it's really like my first full year out of school in my life.
Yeah.
Right.
A relief?
Yeah. It's cool, I mean, definitely, school was, I feel like school's it's a good experience, you know. You learn a lot, build a lot of lifelong relationships, but being out here in the real world is definitely better. You know? So
freedom.
Right.
Especially when you work for yourself.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
So tell me a little bit more about Agility Sports. How did that come about?
It's been a great experience,
Yeah.
It's a lot of trials and tribulations, but it's definitely cool.
It's a journey.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're the CEO?
Perfect word, right, yeah. The CEO, CEO, president, CEO.
Yeah, that's a good name. It feels good to say that.
Sometimes it doesn't even feel real, man, Sometimes it doesn't even feel real.
Yeah, so that's real. So I worked in the sports agent industry for about 3 years.
Okay.
Worked with Alvin Keels.
Okay, cool. I'm familiar with Alvin.
Yeah,
Alvin got started at a very young age too. Right.
Phenom, in the game.
Right.
For how he got in. But I got a lot of insight from basketball agent Jim Tanner.
Okay.
And my uncle's actually an agent. He represents a lot of overseas guys in basketball, Darryl Woods. But just the role that they played in my career, getting involved in the sports industry and even growing, was like tremendous.
Right.
So I would ask you, who are your mentors, or who do you look to for guidance in this business?
In the business, so I guess I didn't tell you part of the story. Tony being my first client, he and I both knew that it would be a good situation to be a partner with somebody to kind of learn the ropes the first time around. So pretty much that whole college football season, any of the agents that contacted him, he gave him my number. So I screened all of the agents, we narrowed it down to about 4 guys who got final interviews, and from there we chose a partner. And I have a partnership with that guy solely on Coney's contract, So Marcus, who I represented this year, is my client. Well, both the guys I represented this year are both my clients. So, but I mean, I spoke with my partner for Coney today. We developed a very good relationship. It's more of like a mentorship role than a partnership now, right? So I mean, I can call him. We talked about stuff with Coney today, and even just stuff generally with the industry. So I mean, other than that, it's a very competitive industry, so you don't really talk to the competitors. But guy's name is Andy Ross. He's a really good guy, for sure, no doubt about it.
So does he have a big book of business, or is he?
Yeah, he works for one of the top agencies in the industry, Select Sports Group. He's had several first rounders, all that. He only represents football players.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, clearly your client roster is growing every year, so that's awesome.
Right.
It seems like you've discovered an approach, a formula that works for you.
Yeah.
So I mean, you've got Coney Ely, you got Marcus Golden, you have Travis Manning.
Right.
So when you're going through your process of recruiting and signing guys, what is your approach to create buy-in and build trust with these young guys?
Yeah, I mean, I can't put all my secrets out there, but you know, it's a lot to do with relationship building. You know, I like to talk to people. I'm good at building relationships. You know, and I think that'll take me far. Like I said, out of the competition, there's not too many guys like me. You know, so I really think that's.
What do you use? Like you use your, your youth?
When I say like me, the majority of the competition are older Caucasian men. You know, so me sitting down with the families, most of the time they don't even know I'm an agent or a lawyer.
You can identify. Or they identify with you.
Right, that kind of stuff. And then a lot of times, even with markets, you know, his mother said that to me too. You know, that like she sees me as kind of like a role model because what I've been able to accomplish thus far at my age, being a young black man, you know, I really believe that people will see that and I'll get an opportunity. You know, like I said, I don't have to sign everybody. As long as I get a few a year, I'll be cool.
That's real.
So, you know, I think one of the biggest hurdles with being an agent, even before I became an agent, was just getting your first client, you know. And I mean, my first 2 clients went the second round, and there's agents who've been in the game my whole career and never had that happen. So, you know, I figure I'll just keep working hard, stay focused, stay humble, and things will play out how they should.
But despite the challenge of competing against these older Caucasian guys who seasoned, got big banks, you know, they got the pocketbook writing checks and things like that. What inspires you to succeed in this industry?
What inspires me is really like the relationships I have with my clients and really being able to cultivate those. I mean, you just heard the conversation I was having. I talk to my guys from anything from that type of conversation to girlfriends and not including like the football related stuff, you know, but I want my relationship really to be like a family type of environment and my clients to have relationships with each other, you know, because there's things that they can learn from each other that I can't or don't even know anything about because I don't play professional football, you know, so that's really what I'm building here and I'm excited, man, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So, if there was a college kid, sports management major, and he wanted to know what characteristics does someone have to possess in order to become a sports agent?
I would say you got to be a hard worker, you have to be diligent, you really can't take things to heart because, you know, it's a tricky business, you know, and you have to be focused for sure. I would say those are some of the main things because it's not as cool as it looks at times.
The glamour.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm getting phone calls. I'm just getting started. I'm getting 2 a.m. phone calls sometimes, 3 a.m. phone calls, or you can be out at the movies and somebody call out to dinner. So, you know, it's not like, it's a cool job, but it's not, I don't think everybody really understands what it really entails to be like.
So how many clients do you have?
3. I've got 3 now, you know, but as things grow, I'll start to put people in place so I don't have to do everything. But right now, you know, it's a startup, so I'm doing everything. Yeah.
So what's your vision for Agility Sports? Are you trying to keep it at a boutique level, or are you trying to be a powerhouse?
No, I want to end up being one of the top. By the time I retire, I'll see Agility being one of the top agencies in the industry, you know, for sure. Started with football, but I want to expand into all of the sports, but, you know, that'll happen with time.
Absolutely.
That'll definitely happen with time.
What would you say the #1 factor to your success is?
I don't believe anybody will outwork me, you know. That's easy. That's easy. I mean, you asked me the hardest question, the easiest question back to back. But hey, you know, I mean, that's the truth. I don't think anybody will outwork me.
So when you're working hard, what does your day look like? What does a typical day for Joseph Clayborne look like?
It depends. You know, every day is different. You know, not right now. It's a little easier because I'm more focused on getting ready for the fall. You know? I would say the majority of what agents do is really recruit. You know, I mean, recruiting and continuing to cultivate relationships with the guys you have. You know? But once you get through the draft process, that's really the hardest part for these guys because it's such a fast transition. It's a new transition and experience from going from college to the pros. You know, that and really the rookie getting through the rookie year. But after that, you know, they're acclimated, they're comfortable in their situation, and just working hard on getting better at what they do. You know, so. But the day-to-day varies, you know. I mean, I was just on the phone talking about a car situation. Got an email today from Nike about a shoe deal. So, you know, it varies.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So what's the best part and the worst part about being a young sports agent?
best part is just, I guess that, you know, the freedom of being able to travel and go to games for work, you know. I mean, been to some good football games over the last
SEC football, no
SEC
joke.
football is crazy. You know, Mizzou's been to the SEC championship 2 years in a row.
Okay.
So I was at both the SEC championships the last 2 years, and even like Coney's first sack was on Russell Wilson, and I was at that game. You know, so you know,
lit.
Yeah, so you know that was a crazy experience. You know, so the worst would probably be, I guess, just the trials and tribulations of being a startup company. You know, not even just strictly being a sports agent. I mean, being a startup in any industry is tough. You know, so I think that would be the worst part. You know, but that's all short-term stuff. You know, not really worried about it because you know I see the big picture.
Absolutely. So do you worry about other agents trying to steal your clients?
No, not worried about that. I mean, my first few guys I have like crazy relationships with. You know, but of course, I won't be this close with everybody, and that's how it happens in the industry. Guys fire and switch agents every day, so I'm not really worried about it. It'll happen eventually, but you know, the guys I have now, I'm never worried about that.
Yeah, because I mean, it's solely relationship based. I feel like when you get to that point where you get in the industry by having a good relationship, and then you kind of stay in the industry by maintaining those relationships that you've got.
For sure.
So, is there one agent in the industry that you model your approach after, or that you would maybe want to have your business like one day?
Nah, I'm not gonna say that. You know, I mean, I've looked at a lot of people, you know, and compared different business models and strategies, but not one person for sure. You know? I mean, not besides my mentor. You know, so even with him is different because he worked for a big company, so his experience is different than my experience because you know I'm one-man shop. So we're able to work together, but you know, I mean, there's two completely different experiences.
That's real. That's real. So, with your journey, you've accomplished a lot in a very, very short time. Yeah. And I know a lot of people in St. Louis, Hampton students, young professionals, want to get into the sports industry, want to get into the sport agent business. What advice would you give to those people about becoming a sports agent and getting to where you are?
I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that question because I'll tell you this, like even before like the summer I was going into taking the agent certification test, I was like, man, I'm going to go get an internship for an agency. You know, I got my MBA.
That's what I did.
Got my MBA. I'm in law school. I just worked for the NFL. That should be pretty easy. And I have a first client on top of all of it. And I couldn't get a job from anybody. You know, I reached out to probably like 5 to 6 different agencies throughout the country. You know, couldn't get a job, and you know they're unpaid. So to answer that question, I would probably say is pick a new career, honestly, because I would not have been a sports agent if it didn't happen this way. You know, I really wouldn't have. You know, I didn't grow up saying I wanted to be a sports agent. Like out of all the other jobs I had before this, the only one that I probably could have seen myself doing besides this was working for the NFL. You know, and graduating from the 5-year MBA program at Hampton, you have to have at least 2 internships to graduate. But I had internships each year with different companies. So, you know, being a sports agent isn't an easy career. You know, and it's not easy once you're in, and it's definitely not easy to get into. So, I don't know, man. It's hard. Like I said, I tried. I reached out to several companies. I bet you on the back end, they wish they would have given me an internship
of course.
now.
That's how it
but
goes.
It didn't work out that way on the front end. You know.
It's like Kendrick Lamar said. He was 17, wanted the company to sign me. Now the only time they give me back is when they rewind me.
Right.
You know
That's for real though. You know. So hey, it happens the right way if you keep working.
Yeah.
You know?
That's real. So that kind of concludes my questions for the ShineHard feature this week, man. I appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate the opportunity. Like I said, you know, I love to give back, man, and share my story. You know, that's what it's about.
Keep grinding, bro.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thanks.